Hello and welcome to our movie. We are going to be showing you our first impression of this beautiful country, Grenada.
The first thing we saw when we took our first step on the Grenadian ground was the beautiful blue water, the blue sky, the green hills with the houses, and since we were in the harbor, all the boats.
Most of the boats in the harbor were fishing boats, and some of them were made for tourism.
Here you can see some of the fishing boats, and in the middle you see there's a man guarding it. And this isn't the case in quite a lot of the boats. Often there's a man guarding it.
Here you can see the blue water along with some smaller boats. We started to explore the streets of Grenada, and we saw quite some interesting things. We saw the fire station, and besides that, we saw the central police station. Actually, we saw a lot of police-related things.
Here you can see police getting ready to lock up another person's car because they parked wrong.
But luckily the person that parked wrong got back in time before the police officer was gone, so he unlocked it again.
This was also quite present in the society. Here we can see some policemen walking down the street.
Many of the traffic lights were also broken in Grenada, so the work was also taken from the police officers. Here we can see a police telling cars to drive and stop.
We kept on walking down the streets, and we were admiring all the details that were put in to make it look pretty. For example, here you can see the Turkish pillars holding up a red roof.
After walking for a while, we arrived to the market.
At the market, they were selling a range of different spices. For example, curry, cumin, pepper, and everything in between. We were surprised to see that many spices, but we liked it a lot.
At the market, you could also buy nutmeg. Grenada is really known for nutmeg because they have once been the second biggest nutmeg exporter from the world. But after Hurricane Ivan, which took place some years ago, most of the trees were destroyed and they are now on the 7th place.
One more interesting thing we saw at the market was these handmade tree sculptures. Here you can see an interesting one. I think Annika had a very funny time with it.
One last thing that was sold at the market were these candles. They had different scents. They had mango, coconut, orange, peach, and some others. They were made out of a coconut shell with the wax inside, so they were quite pretty.
When we were walking around in the streets, we found this beautiful cafe. It was called the House of Chocolate, and they were really famous. They sold quite some interesting things. Of course, they sold a lot of chocolate, but also they sold this kind of ice cream, the nutmeg ice cream.
Obviously, we had to try this ice cream. So we bought a bowl with 2 scoops of it, and here we can see Annika trying it. She actually really liked it, and she kept on eating. We had to force stop her.
The taste of it was not similar to anything that I've ever tried before, but it was really fun to try it and I really enjoyed it.
In the House of Chocolate, you can also have a live view of them baking the pastries they sold there.
In my opinion, this was really good because you could confirm the good hygiene that they had to use.
Talking about chocolate, we also visited a chocolate factory on another part of the island.
The chocolate factory was called Juve, and it seems like it's famous over the whole island.
The nature around the factory was beautiful, and you could see the cocoa beans growing on the trees.
We got to see how they processed the cocoa beans. First, they dried them in the sun so they got harder and more like chocolate.
Here they sort out the bad beans and the shells after they're dried.
After that, they put the beans into a grinder that grinded them into a paste.
This paste is then mixed with sugar and made into chocolate bars.
Finally, they're sold, both in the factory and all over the island.
After some days on Grenada, we visited 2 schools, first a boys' school and then a girls' school. On Grenada, most of the schools are gender separated. This means that boys and girls do not go to the same school.
We noticed quickly that all the students had school uniforms. We're not so sure what we think about it. It has both positive and negative sides.
Some of the students had a pin on their shirt saying prefect. This meant that they had a little bit more responsibility in the school.
We asked 3 students of what they think is the first impression that tourists get from Grenada.
First impression, it depends. They come either from Grenada or from the ports, and when we're visited, we have in those areas we have tourist shops practically.
If you're coming from a boat, you will see most of the cultures. They show you off, you have dances, you have different jobs and stuff showing up. Everyone see everything, and there will be people showing up different places and stuff we have and stuff like that. If you come from the airport, not really much stuff. They just have shops and stuff inside the airport to show off some of it.
It's more of showing off the island to the people and showing the different attributes of the island, like the natural, like the waterfalls and the beaches and all those other natural environments.
What do you think we as tourists should see in the country? What is the coolest thing? What would you like to show me?
For me personally, I prefer showing off the waterfalls because I'm more in tune with that aspect rather than the beach. Although the beach is really famous and it's really gorgeous.
So we decided to go to a waterfall. This specific one is called the Concord Waterfall, and we had to go for about an hour in bus. But finally we arrived, and it was beautiful, with the green trees around it and the waterfall in the middle.
We decided to take a swim in the water. It was quite warm and it was really nice.
You can also jump into the water from a cliff.
We decided to keep on exploring the nature of Grenada, and our guide decided to play some music for us.
We went to the jungle and took a walk in the really muddy ground.
We saw a lot of different kinds of trees and flowers. We even saw a monkey.
After exploring Grenada for a week, our first impressions are that it's a beautiful country with a lot of breathtaking nature.
We also found out that the people on the island are really nice and helpful.
Thank you so much for watching!
Yes!